they have a little bit of fuel and munitions, then you can set up your Lancer squads behind the sandbags, and of course you need to put up a tank barrier also. And make sure you got tanks there behind it, just in case some tank, Sherman or something rolls up on it that could break through the barrier. But what you do is you just sit them in there behind that wall, 4 or 5 of them, and you just let them go until they get one of them will end up getting 50 kills. Give them the machine guns, whatever you can, and eventually one of them will get 50. There's a counter on your thing, so when you highlight the squad or the tank or whatever, there's a counter on what each one of them got. This one wasn't really that hard to get. You can get this one on most of these. I think you can get them on normal, but I did hard on mine just because on hard they tend to feed it a lot more. If you do it, I'm going to let you know, if you do it on expert, it will push if you're doing it against Americans, it's going to push Pershing right down your throat. And so, but if you don't do that, and believe it or not, for some reason normal tends to be harder and push out more than the hard does, it seems like. Okay, destroy 25 vehicles with a single KV in one game. Again, all this is done. I usually done these on the loins or sheets, and there's an Eastern Front one, Leningrad, that you can do it on. You got to be able to block off where they go out on the map. Otherwise, you're not going to get these. I'm telling you that right now. Unless you got a friend to help you and he feeds you tanks, you're not going to be able to get these, because you're not going to be able to kill 25 vehicles in the game with a single KV2. What you got to do is you put a bunch of engineers behind this and make you some get you the repair truck vehicle and put it up there, and this will help. What you do is you go in there. Of course, you can't have the barricade up. You go in there and you kill what you can, then come back. The AI tends to keep all the vehicles in the back, so you get you some mortars and stuff and bomb the tar or something that you can bomb a little bit, get the infantry down, then you can go in there and kill the tanks and come back out. Pull in frontwards, back out backwards, because if you turn your ass to them, you're dead. This one here is so easy to get. You can do this in one game. I did. It's a beast. If you get a big map, you can have 3 AIs on your side of 3 people playing, and if this game drags on a little bit, you're going to get this one. This thing, it's called a beast killer for a reason. It sounds like a cannon going off, and it sounds like a cannon what it is. You get close to a tank, if you let your buddies get you up there close to a tank, it will destroy the tank within 2 or 3 shots if it hits it. So that's not hard to get. This is a little harder again. Most of these ones we see this time, you just get you a bunch of engineers behind it. Go in, pull back. You got to go in and pull back. You can't run through the game. You take too much of a chance to get killed. You can do this one in one game. A KV1 is pretty tough. It does take a lot of hits. But again, if you go up against, you're running around, you get what happened to me the first time. I got 5 tanks, and I ran into a Persian by myself, and there I was with the KV1 sitting against the Persian. It didn't work out for me. You do that. This game, you just get 3 or 4. I did this on the sheets, and with a little Allen, I just stuck them in the. I stuck them in the building. 2 or 3 snipers in the building. One of them's going to end up getting 100 kills. This is so easy. Just build make sure you're building the Willis Jeep, not any other Jeep, but just the Willis Jeep. Usually, if you go into the game and turn off all your rewards, usually this is what it spits out at you. So this is what you get. It's easy to just build one and that's it. That one's easy. The main self-produced, that's easy. You just do what it says. Most people have gotten these ones. This one's a little harder. Again, you have to pull into an area, block them off. I did this on the loins. What you do is you get all your tanks and everything up there around that little area, leave them something, pull them all around there, and what it'll do, they'll produce a tank but it takes a long time for them to do it. What you can do is, once you pull them up in there and get them all in, let them run down, then back out enough to let him capture some territory, then pull back in and leave that left side of the loins for them to go down and get some fuel and stuff. And then once you pull back in there, just don't block it off so they can get that stuff, and it works pretty fast. I got my 25 tanks. If you're lucky, it will be it went armor, and it'll kick out. What you do is, once you kill that, knock off that the that Sherman Calliope, it'll keep on spitting out Calliopes. Now, I will also let you know it might spit out a Persian on that too. But again, if you watch what you're doing, you can do. Usually they don't go. They'll go Stug or something like that. And the Stug with a Sherman is pretty easy to do. You just gotta be careful. Pull in. If you get low, just back out. It's not worth the cost of losing it. Yeah, this one's not as easy as it seems. As you all know, machine guns don't hold up well against some other stuff, especially mortar attacks. What I did was I got on the sheets, and right there on the far side where you leave them the munitions and the fuel, you set up a machine gun up there and kind of like box him in with sandbags. Do that on both sides, and I had a hard time getting this because of that. And once I found that, did that, it was I got the 50 kills real fast. That's self-explanatory. Just everybody does that. That's easy. Just destroy all the buildings. The sheets, just do it. Knock them all out. You can knock them out, or they can knock them out. It doesn't matter. Just make sure they're all destroyed before the end of the game. This one is the only one that tends to work on the end game. A lot of these, you do them, and it won't give you the credit for it if it's an ending game. But see, I'm still saying you need to have all the buildings destroyed before the end of the game. That's easy. You just get him out there and just plop him down somewhere. He gets veterancy off of the people he's around, or the things he's around. So put him in a bunker or something like that, and with a bunch of engineers, and he gets veterancy real quick. So that's kind of tanks with an elephant. That's not hard to do. The elephant's pretty easy to kill things with. Again, just set it up on one of the two maps I've talked about, and go in there and kill them and back out. You gotta have control of them, otherwise you're. I tried this on a couple other maps, and you're just chasing around, trying to keep them out of your area. And that one produced a Sherman. In Veterancy 3, the same thing. This just the same thing. That's the same way. 3 with it. Call in only, and that means that's what that is. Call in only the Pershing tank and get Veterancy 3 with it. You can't have no other tanks on the field. None other. Once you get Veterancy 3, you're good to go. If you got your iPhone with you when you do, if you do this on your computer, that's the way you can know you get it. So see, that's where you get. That's what you got to call in the Pershing only. Build 10 M10 tanks in a single game. This is not the Wildcat. This is the M10, the Wolverine. That's the M10. That's not the reward one. You bring in the M10. And just build 10 of them. Just lock it off and crank them out and get them killed. It doesn't matter, just as long as you make 10 of them. This is a little harder to do. You got to have like 7 or 8, because you know how easy a Jeep fails. You got to have 7 or 8 engineers around this thing to keep it alive. Just go in there and kill. Set up, and you can do that. Block it off and just let the infantry come up. If you just make a small hole in that, the only thing that's going to come up is the infantry. So you do that, and you'll get your Veterancy 3. I can't remember how many kills that is. I think it's one. Once you get up to 10 or 15 on that, I'm not sure. Okay, the Panzer Elite this Merkin Geiger, that's the one that can recover vehicles. The only way these two things here get veterancy is if the vehicles are around. Otherwise, you need to have it on like a Panther, and if that gets, it gets 50% of what that gets. So otherwise, if it goes to veterancy 1, this one's only halfway. These two are only halfway through it. So you have to get it with one tank. Again, you can do this. I did this on the loins. I went on the left-hand side. If you have it, if you have the map blocked off and the two bridges blowed up, they tend to throw infantry to the left-hand side. So you can set a Pershing up there, and they get veterancy for killing infantry too. So once these guys get up there to veterancy 3, and it takes a while. So it takes them, like, it'll take you 2 or 3 tanks to get this. And you can actually use this one to get health on that one and this one. And what's hard on this is the mortars. You start getting these mortar kicks out, so you gotta have some mortar or some artillery to knock out the mortar pretty fast, because the mortars will kill you. But that's simple. What I'm going to try to do, none of these here, these end games where it says in a game, build only tigers and panthers. No, in a game, wherever it says in a game or at the end of the game. I haven't got this yet. I've done it. I've done the sharpshooter, and I'm pretty sure they took damage again. I'm going to try that again here after a while. Can't do that one because I can't figure out who in the hell Danko is. So if someone can help me on that, these are all in games. I've done this here is done by the Russians. I've done that. That's a Russian. If that you don't realize that that's R backwards, so that's a Russian. So it has to be done with the Russians. And see what it says by the end of the game. Yeah, you just can't get them. I've done it 2 or 3 times, and it just doesn't. I haven't done this yet. I haven't figured out the Tiger tank. I've done it twice with 2 different Tiger. I haven't done it with 1 Tiger tank yet. Tiger Ace. I don't know if it's the same thing. That's the problem with this. Because I don't think you can get the Tiger tank anymore. It's all Tiger Ace, and I've got all my things turned off. I've done it with it. So it's got to be, and they're always in the command trees also. That, I've done that, but it doesn't take. And that's about it on all these. I've called in, I don't know how many Hummels, and that's got to be Panzer Elite, because that's the only one you can call Hummels in on. And I've called in 3, I've called in 1, and I had it at the end of the game and nothing. So I just don't play the ones that it says in a game. Tried that, and that's okay. 100 total kills. I'm thinking that's tanks and everything. I've killed 100 tanks. I've killed 100 infantry, and nothing happens with that one. So I don't know whether there's something going on with this or not. Of course, you cannot play the Churchill because you can't play British. This one here is one I'm going to try here in a little bit. Playing 5 tanks. Now the way to do this is take the is take the recovery vehicle. It only recovers medium tanks, but you need to find a Russian T-34 tank. You recover it, and it becomes it goes. It's still a T-34 tank, but it's in your control. Then you have to go kill 5 tanks, and that's called a Butenpanzer. That's the word for they was recovering tanks at that time in Germany when they was losing the war. They was trying to recover any tank they could and use it. And no, that's can't do that. Can't do that. That's what I'm saying. These people said they've gotten them all in a minute and a half. You can't, because right there, that one, then 90 minutes. Okay, so that's it, and you can come back and check later and see if I've gotten this one here.